Hey guys, it's Christina of CraftyPaws. Wanted to come on and share a single layer birthday card that I made for my niece who's turning 19. And this is my third entry into Brown Baby Craftaholic and Kim Possible's monthly Use Your Stamp Challenge. I'll put a link in the description box below to both of those wonderful ladies. And thank you, ladies, so much for motivating me to get out stamps that I spent good money on and had not inked up yet. Well, I inked up one of these before, but two of these have never seen ink before. And I'm so glad I finally got around to using them because they are so stinking cute. I used these chubby chums from Paper Smooches as balloon animals, like those Mylar balloons. And all I did was I drew in the little mouth of the balloon and drew in these little lines to connect them to this little cutie patooties hands. And she is from the In My Heart collection from Mama Elephant. The sentiments are from this Tiddly Inks Flying High set. I used What's Up, and inside I used Happy Birthday. I'm going to attach a process video sharing with you guys most of the process. I skipped over some of the coloring of these Mylar balloons because the coloring is really simple. The images are really easy to color in, not a lot of detail in them. So I show a couple of them, but not all of them. And I do show how I went about creating this puffy cloud sky background and this little grassy hill that this little girl is standing on. So I hope you enjoy the process video. Thanks for watching. So I'm using Memento Tuxedo Black ink and stamping out the little girl with her outstretched arms, which I thought was perfect to hang on to all these balloon animals. And I'm stamping out each chubby chum and then placing a mask that I've made of each one out of Post-it note paper. And all I did was stamp it out on the Post-it paper and then fussy cut it out. So I'm doing that so that it looks like the balloons are kind of layered one in front of the other. And since they're Mylar balloons and not kind of transparent rubber balloons, I wanted to make sure that there were crisp images. Now I'm making a little mask for the puffy cloud background that I wanted to create. Just drew in the arches and then, cut it out with scissors. And I'm using Tim Holtz tumbled glass and my blending tool to create kind of the background of each cloud. And if you do that, layer after layer, row after row, it really creates the look of a sky filled with puffy white clouds. When I've gotten past the point of where the balloons are, I remove the masks just to confirm that I didn't get blended ink underneath the masks. And then I'm doing one final layer of the puffy clouds right where the top of the little girl's head is. Next, I'm using a Copic multi-liner pen to draw in the mouth of each of the balloons. That's where like the string would be attached. So first I'm going to color in the base color on the little chickie, and I'm using Y11. And then I'm going in with a slightly darker Y15, getting into the lower parts and to the left side of the little chick. And then I add Y17 to get into those little corners. I'm trying to keep the upper right at the lightest possible because that's where my light source is going to be hitting the balloons. To add the deepest tones, I'm adding an E15 to the feet and the beak. For the Grassy Hill, I'm just drawing in the shape of the hill with my lightest grass color, YG03. I'm going in to add a little bit more depth with YG07, and I'm using that to also start drawing in the little blades of grass, which I draw in little clumps of 2 or 3. Then I take the last grass color, YG09, and add that in just for little clumps of grass. Here I've started coloring in the little girl, and her skin is E000, E00, E11, and then for her blush I use R20. It's a really simple, small image, so there isn't a lot of blending back and forth that you have to do. But to soften up the little blush, I do go back in with E00 to blend in with the rest of her face skin. For her hair, I'm using C7 and C9 to give her a dark black hair look. And I'm leaving the middle area where the sun might hit it, the light might hit it, with just a little touch of B01. I love her little pigtails. I think they're so cute. For her dress, I'm using R22, 24, and 29. And again, the area is so small, there isn't a lot of room to put in, you know, kind of pleats and things like that. But I try to do that a little bit, as you can see there, just drawing in darker areas where the pleats might be. But you don't really get to see it too clearly in the video. As these are Mylar balloons, I decided to go with a completely whimsical dog color. I use the RV 52, 55, and 66. And I'm showing you this because, not that it's, you know, a new thing or anything, but the gaps in the colors are so big in this RV line, at least in my collection, that I end up having to use the tip to tip kind of technique so I can bridge the color gap between some of the lighter and darker shades. And it really does help to bridge that gap and to make the transition a little smoother. And I just touch the light marker tip to the dark marker tip and then color with that transferred ink. And then just to smooth out the edges, I go over to blend out a little bit more with RV55. And then, because I feel like it's too pale, I want some deeper tones, I am going to bring in my RV66 right into the crevices of the balloon. And I think getting in that whole range of colors, light to very dark, really helps make the images pop when you color them that way. What I think really makes these balloons pop, though, is adding the highlights with a white Jelly Roll pen. And I add that to the right side, again, where the light would hit the balloons on each of the little chubby chums. Here I'm adding, with my ruler and a black Uniball pen, the strings from each of the balloons to the little girl's hand. And then below her hand, I want to make it less taut, so I just draw in a slight curve. Sorry for my hair being there in the way. I was just trying to make sure the lines were getting exactly to the crux of her hand. And then for the sentiment, I'm using the Tiddly Inks sentiment, "What's Up?" right there smack in the middle of the card. And for the inside, the Happy Birthday from that same Tiddly Ink set. For sentiments, I use Onyx Black VersaFine ink rather than Memento ink because I think it gives a crisper, image for sentiments. Now I'm just using some foam tape. I'm putting that on the whole back of the panel and centering it on my card base. And here I start to show you guys putting glossy accents over all of the balloons. I used a lot of glossy accents and it took a lot of time to dry, but I definitely think the final results were definitely worth it. Oh my gosh, this is where I discovered that somehow I smeared a whole bunch of black ink when I had flipped over the card to put the foam tape on, all over the puppy. So I'm going back in with my white Jelly Roll pen to fix that up. And you can see here I added spots to the dog to cover up the smears. So I hope you enjoyed this process video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you're having a wonderful crafty day.